Sanje Judon Zojin Jonula Shanja Pada Dana Japsumchi. Daga Geshe Jebe Sonum Je Rola Penjara Sanje and Reparation. Sanje Judon Zojin Jonula Shanja Pada Dana Japsumchi. Daga Chishe Jebe Sonum Je Rola Penjara Sanje and Reparation. Sanje Judon Zojin Jonula Shanja Pada Dana Japsumchi. Daga Chishe Jebe Sonum Vola Benjara Sanje Reparation. Hello, good evening again. Hi, Wendy. There's someone there. Anyone knows the lady?
So good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. You know, this time is do you saw someone say yes? Where? Online. If you can say that. This is not the time to everyone say. Do you saw anyone? Yeah, I saw. Where? On the Zoom. Yesterday, some Tibetan asked me, "Do you saw anyone?" I said, "Yeah, I saw him." Where do you saw? Oh, online. I said, "What? How you call it?" He said, "You online, you saw." Yeah, this is the time to right now. The time change. If you meet someone online, they say, "Yeah, I saw that." Anyway, it's wonderful to see all of you. Yeah. 계산 빠야게 도와지요. 바로 머리방 간난 대시간 남버 시방고 가지 머리방 망고나다까지 아니 다 제매여서로 가서 만도 땀 덴데 루도 공시나 드리도 그러와.
Last time Pyle had a question about
Oh, Tamjo, your voice very low. Yeah, very, very low. Actually, you can't be that. Can the prenatal my Jody world shut down, certainly. What is channels? It's better?
Better or
no? Yeah, no. 저 안에 암조자잖아요. 저 암조를 넣어야 됩니다. 저 암조를 넣어야 됩니다. 저 다리 못 소리도. Good, yeah. Tomchi's voice is most important. If what I say, Tomchi can hear, that's good. Then you have to hear from Tomchi. My broken English, and you have to guess. You just hang. Okay, he talk about like that. He talk about like that. You know, think that way. Anyway, you know, the pious, you know, caution, you know, if we're not able to stop the ignorance, then there's no way to get out from samsara. It's really like that way. But of course, whatever we practice, any kind of pray, meditation, reciting, this all also the cause to the get out of the samsara. Like, you know, when we have something here, something here, something here. The doctor says you have to take out, or you can just take some medicine. Maybe go slowly. Like that. We take medicine. The ignorance just you take out, just kick out. When we take medicine, you know, slowly takes time, maybe slowly go away. Then time to then doctor can cut off like that. Like that. Therefore, it's not means if you don't understand emptiness, it's not means you don't have any merits, not like that. What we pray, practice, meditation, this is all sports for the, you know, reduce for samsara. Okay? La, tamju jo jab sambe. That is channel.
Listen.
It's better, right? No?
No. All right.
A little better, but not.
Yeah. 그래 나 돼. 맞아. 삼자 인터넷 치워야 나 How's my voice?
No, that was good.
My voice.
Good.
I also use different microphone here. Special who the singers. They use this one. Special professional. This if you use this one, I don't have to too loud when I pray. Otherwise, my voice is special in here, very special sound, and people say, "What's going on there?" You have to like nothing. This is like my nature, right? Everyone knows that. It's not like I was first time like that. I think when I come to India, I debate, that small place, there are a lot of monks together. You don't say very loud, other people doesn't hear. Therefore, we say too loud. I think there's something happened. This is impermanent.
Yeah, that will.
Oh, this is good. 저 가르지? 가래.
Computer, not the iPad is done.
가야 돼. 괜찮아. Yeah, this is perfect. This is his real voice there. Other ones, not his real voice. When we have that one time that pray in India, the monks can, wow, this guy has very good voice, like he became chanting master. 제자 가서 봐야게 저거들 같이 가서 치다기 나도 냠내 가르치나 또 참아 아니 같이 고발에 줘야게 절판 로요래서.
So last time we were talking about how you free yourself from samsara, by abandoning the ignorance, and then if you abandon the ignorance, then you abandon creating the karma, and if you don't create the karma, then you won't leave the imprint of the karma on the consciousness, and thereby it will not be activated by the craving, grasping, and so forth. So anyway, so everything, so this is the only way we can free ourselves from cycle existence. Without that, there's no way we can free ourselves from cycle existence. So whatever we do, practice of Dharma, then we should make that to become the cause to eliminate the ignorance.
제가 간도 계획 강한 저거 참아 같이 너무 좋아하다 아니면 고발에 줘야 전로요다 루데요다.
So whatever practice we do, it all becomes like a cause, to either reduce the delusions, or to abandon the samsara.
Okay. 아니 나도 니레니레 소소고 니레니레 곰다고 냠낸다고 삼로다고 따라서 단단히 간도 배나 다음에 또 토고 말해. 다음에 마도나 아니 다음 빠토고 말해. 이나야. 대 다음에 또야게 아니 제다 아니 소소 동반이 콜라 삼로 따야 다음에 콜라 삼로 따야. 아니 무타베 콜라 삼로 따서 타마 그 되게 찾기는 로기였다.
And so on all the practice that we do, any small practice that we do, of course, it doesn't become a direct antidote, to the ignorance, but it becomes a condition for the delusions to be reduced. So whatever practice we do, any small practice we do, so that can become a condition, to reduce the delusions. Of course, in order to directly antidote it, you have to have the realization of emptiness or selflessness. But just thinking about emptiness or just thinking about selflessness can become a condition to eventually reduce the delusions.
아니 간조 그치 개와 가세 들어와이나 아니 대가 아니 수수고 제가 쏘는 거 좋아해 보 싸기요래 쏘는 거 좋아해 가세 싸와이나 대글로 쇼크 아니 지금 뉴모가 그래도 갈래 마신도 요래 만용도 요래.
So whenever we do something to create merit, any kind of small virtuous action that we engage in, that creates a merit. So when we create a merit, then that indirectly, becomes a condition, to pacify the delusions little by little.
아니 쏘는 거초 아니 야보 싸매봐이나 아니 동반이도 남매로 삼로 따나가 좀 고하시라는 말이.
So accumulating merit is very important. Without that, even if we try to meditate on selflessness or emptiness all the time, we will not be able to gain any realizations.
제다 지름보치야 아니 동반이 다들이고라 섬도 따위 가려야 아니 잠베야로 고면도 손바이 봐 아니 잠베야가 다지랑 손는 거 속사고 그래서 아니 손는 부터 속사셔서 어떻게 손바이 봐.
And so when Lama Tsongkhapa was meditating on and contemplating on emptiness, he couldn't understand it well. So he mentioned, to Manjushri, and Manjushri said, "Oh, that's because you don't have enough merit. So now you should first go and accumulate more merit by doing other practices."
Okay, that is okay. 제가 양 잠좀 왔다 지는 간도치 제대 뒤선 졸라에 따라서 대삼고 말해. 대손음 속삭이 요래야 보여래.
So whatever small practices you can do, should do it and don't, have to worry about wasting your time, doing that, because whatever small merit you accumulate, that becomes a condition to eventually reduce the delusions.
뭐야, 다 등한도 혈압님보다 가사된 망한도 로고, 다 혈압님보다 갈래지네, 슈만의 혈압님보만 되면 가블래야, 아는 느린들 랍고요, 삼배 소수 삼라지. 이게 만 되면 가블래야, 고할래야지 특장반 되면 많이 빠지고 그래.
And so, as we have gone through this commentary or explanation of the Heart Sutra, so now we have understood a little better about the meaning of Heart Sutra, right? So next and now from now on, when you recite the Heart Sutra, it will be a little different, from what you used to be. Now you understand more meaning about the words that you're reciting, and so it becomes more meaningful now.
제가 혈압 니보세다 혈압 요소 혈압 관계나는 혈압이 약소돼 혈압 니버 최소돼 아니 오래 다들으라고 거고도 혈압 니보세대로.
And so like we say Heart Sutra, it's the heart of the perfection of wisdom sutra, not just sutra but perfection of wisdom sutra. So the of all the wisdoms, the essence of all the wisdoms.
제가 내게 혈압 그 하트 수트라 세가만나 다 혈압님은 도서 고르고도 와 세다 아니 나라서 진짜 디스미요레 다 제바데 아니 몸도 봐 주니 델레 뉴아데 안 뉴르트 봐숨 델레 테스 뉴아데 안 제담바 다 대야파 뉴뉴치와데 아니 혈압님보 대야파 뉴아데 아니 대야당 같은 거 빠랑 같은 빠라 쓰거든 모델에서 와서 어디 때 말해서 제작자니.
And so the perfection of wisdom sutra is, so there is the extensive one, which has 100,000 verses, and then the middling one, which has 5,000 verses, and then the short one, which has 8,000 verses, right? And then even shorter than that will be the Heart Sutra, and then even the shorter than that will be just the mantra.
And
even that, can be, abbreviated to just the letter A.
제가 다티 제제래 제제 다티기 제자 가르나 동반이래 동반이 제자가 아니 가르고 된데가 아니 동반이 제자 제배가 아니 진대대좀 차상기 아니 님보 도도 제지가 아니 혈압님보 아니 다 제자 디디쟁이 그래서 그 대오용에다 아니 혈압님보지 되게 제자 동반이달라 아니 혈압스러워.
And so all this, the subject matter of all this, the professional wisdom sutra is the emptiness. So emptiness is the subject matter, and these sutras explains about the profession of wisdom, and the Heart Sutra, is the heart, or essence, or the heart of all this professional wisdom sutra. Therefore, it's called Heart Sutra.
제가 혈압 님보 다 혈압 님보스. 야들라 근데 된데기 혈압 니가도 혈압 세야 돼 또만이 또 혈압을 고고 그래서 니가도 혈압 님보가 혈압 세야 돼 그디나 또만이 또 혈압 들어 고고 그래.
And this one here, when we talk about the professional wisdom sutra, professional wisdom, so it's always talking about the wisdom realizing emptiness. And so here also when we talk about the Heart Sutra, so the sutra here, the professional wisdom sutra, is the wisdom that realizes emptiness.
And sometimes 혈압이 바르데 신비 님보라 그래서 야 림보잖아. and both na Sharaji participation, Jum then the Sharaji participation in both of two songs.
So the of course, like I said, just when we say Heart Sutra is the short, so what it actually means is Profession of Wisdom Sutra, the heart of the Profession of Wisdom Sutra.
다들 고대오주 출려와이나 간제 셔럽지 바로더나 고와랑 고와사이데 놈들 소들 하샤 델파한 로약이 람데카레 본유토베 셔럽 냠들랭 거고레스 딘지기 아니 냠솔랭야기 나좀 산좀 판고나 모타단도 그라 되게 모타 세데 아니 딱 셔럽지 도만이 또베 셔럽데레스 어떤도 거도.
And so it's called the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Perfection is referring to the liberation. The imperfection, is the samsara, where we are on this side. And so when you achieve liberation, then you become perfect, right? You are perfected. So what makes you become perfected? Is the wisdom lies in emptiness.
Okay. 제가 아니 돈유도베 셔라진 암스 람발라 때니 아니 코에 잠수 바로 로고 그래서 간진 코알에 타고 그래. 코알에 빵고 그래서.
So by realizing emptiness, then you can cross, the ocean, of the cycle existence and reach on the other side, on the other side, the liberation, on the liberation. So in order to eliminate this imperfection of the cycle existence and to reach the perfection of the liberation, you have to realize emptiness.
다들 코와 가다 다 드링어도 덴바시 꼴때라베 티가는 코와서 가림바 티가 용고레스와 간진 코와서데 나라 수지지 되비지 아니 레닝가 오셔 사천 일년지 사천지 봉보대다 아니 지 뉴모다 제딩 셈달라 아니라 그래서 가다 사천지 셈.
And then, so last time we talked about how we circle in a circle in cycle existence, right? How we take birth in cycle existence, and then how we can be free from cycle existence through the 12 link of dependent origination. And then after that, it talks about the Four Noble Truths, right? So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Four Noble Truths. So the Four Noble Truths, the suffering, so true suffering is referring to these contaminated aggregates.
뭐야 다듯이 다 간지 다네 다 아닌 내가 소소발 아니 산지 좀된 가래 혈압님보다 가디 쇼머에서나 아니 수고와래 아니 술을 셰바래 수 요버서나 아니 공에대 아니 kungawo kowares 고다다 가와서나 샤게 품부를 kowares 아니 간지는 kowar나 아니 산지 좀된데 똥바니라 냠바슈대요래 대 소들라야 아니 파바시레스 장 아니 냠바슈도 슈대요래 대 가울라야 아니 kungawo kowares 어디 고노 늦게다가 또 봐 대치나 생기대.
And anyway, so it's talking about that, the contaminated aggregate, that is produced by the karma and delusion, right? And so here in the Heart Sutra, at the beginning, we talk about the Heart Sutra, so it talks about the introduction at the beginning, right? So who heard it? Thus have I heard at one time. So thus have I heard of. So who is I? So who heard it, and where was it heard? And when was it heard, and from whom it was heard, and so forth. So who heard that was the Ananda. So thus have I heard at one time, and so when this is one time, I heard means like I is the Ananda, and where did he hear that? Is at the Rajgriha on the Virtuous Mountain, together with the assembly of Great Assembly Monk and the Great Assembly of Bodhisattvas, and then so from whom did he hear? It was from the through the blessings of the Buddha, when he was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination.
사실 좀 된데다 냠도 간소 파 미근 통대가 아니 gelong다 겐딘다 다 간제 아니 간도 남주 민통해야 돼 미근 통대와 양 알아서 미근 통 맞다가게 아니 사다 아니 라마엔다 가지 보다 되는 마보요레스 되고.
And at the same time, like I said, there were all the others, the assembly of great bodhisattvas and assemblies of monks, and those are the beings that we can see at that time. But there are also the beings that were not visible to us, to our ordinary, mind. And so, with a special perception, you can see them. there were like the gods and demigods and all other great bodhisattvas were there who we were not able to see.
아니 대 아니 산지 좀 된데 수들아야 아니 바바 셰레스 자 동반이라 냐바샤네 슈데요 레스로.
And then also at that very time, there was also Avalokiteshvara sitting next to Buddha, who is looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom.
그 저치 샤근도 빼나 자나서 빼나 장보를 못 손주도 빼나 도제도 빼고 장보를 못 슈트 첨보지 칼아야 아니 손주 나와요지. 이 솔라야 아니 견본 개도도야 소소소 슈트 칼아 되대와지. 몇개 올마 안에 자와마마 쳐서 자와다 미차 삼아 되도 어떤데로 삼다고 남지 두저 곰자고다. Damche stuck. Damche is frozen like that. Oh, he will come back. Yeah. Damche 좀 가서다. He just holding his eye. He can go out and come back one, yeah. Like that, if you see that like His Holiness teaching, the big throne, His Holiness and give the talk, then around also all the abbots, they have different thrones, they sit like that. And around all the monks, nuns, and lay people around. Exactly when we recite the Heart Sutra, we think like that way. Now, Rajgiri, right now we can go there, it's just only 30, 40 people can fit. But Buddha's blessing, it become a humongous big space, like that way. Then, that time, usually His Holiness talk about, with teaching. That time, Buddha just, meditation, emptiness. Then around there, also special for Avalokiteshvara, also meditation for emptiness. That time, and the Buddha blessing to for ask a question for Avalokiteshvara, what are you doing like that? How to do that? What question? The person has already attend for the renunciation, who's looking for how to practice 5 paths on the emptiness, then he the question for like that way. Then Buddha first, Buddha doesn't give answers, The Avalokiteshvara give the short answer, right? Then long answer. There are 2 different answers. It's good. I think Tamshu is already display. Like that way, when we recite the Heart Sutra, you're just, like Buddha Shacha means that, like we really like something to hundreds, thousands of monks, nuns, they run like that. You just feel something like that. It becomes more powerful and more blessing for us. Then special dekas, okay, you have to understand for the first 2 parts, what do you call? Someone said that?
Path accumulation and path of preparation.
During that time, what she's walking around. Man, where are you going there? Therefore, during that time, what to do? First to hear about emptiness. Tambu Geshe Tubo Monster, first to hear. To unmute. You mute yourself. I think maybe his body is done. You have to hold like that way. I think his phone doesn't. I think he uses his phone. Phone doesn't stay there. That's Tamchi Murchasha.
Okay.
What happened?
I don't know. My current iPad is down.
I think maybe. This is a small obstacle. Yeah, sometimes they also the internet be just feather, then you have to turn up, come back. Lasso. What do you do? Sera Jey Monastic Ani Sherry ani Sanji Chumdendegi, ani Shariputra, Shinjelapchi, ani Sherry de la Patuatu, 다 저와 가르쳤나 아니 람라 슈창했던 디 강사티기 아니 다 졸음 졸음 베나 졸음 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 골음 말도 람가티 아니 다 갑래야 똥바니 가지 냠들래 거래 다 저와 대트주고다 삼나 대트와 트주고 봐 되게 내라 풍봉하고 대다자라지 똥바 넘버 따고세 아니 단다 셰레즈야 아니 네 샤리폴라 봐 저와가 랜드 봐 피송 다 피워라 봐
And so at that time, the Buddha blessed Shariputra to ask this question to Avalokiteshvara. So he said, those practitioners who have already entered into the path, and how do they practice or meditate on emptiness in the path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of normal learning. Like that. So on those, these 5 paths, how do we engage in the practice of the professional wisdom or emptiness? And then so that was the blessing by the Buddha to making Shariputra to ask such question, and to the answer to that, then Avalokiteshvara, so like where it ends with saying subsequent looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the 5 areas also. And so with that, then he offered the answer to Shariputra.
오지 다 디갑도 또 초람다 전업근에 가서 남kop다 대송 거요.
And so during that time,
알레라 안 거도 다 대대바지 대 심하다. 다디 슈고들라야 아니 대 개바시만 아니 주동바고 동바니 주소 동바니라제 주제 마이노 세베깔라야 다 아니 동바니 주조 아니 초람다 전업근에 가서 남간이 공부를 스틸레드 잡고래.
And then to explain it more extensively, and Avalokiteshvara said, form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. So that explains emptiness in the 4 folds, and that is explained emptiness and how to practice on emptiness in the path of accumulation and path of preparation.
오다 아니 다 디네 가도 도바로 가르나 아니 땅다다 첸다니가 선도래 스테고고요래.
And so at that time, what doubts one clears, is both the nihilism and eternalism. The grasping of nihilism and eternalism are cleared or eliminated.
아니 주라지 잡아텔라 아니 땅다스 제다 주 동바 주라지 잡아 마레송 참발라 아니 땅다세 첸도래. 동바니 주소 수유가라야 라지 마트베 죽대 소소라 나데와 수다라레 송글라 아니 첸다세로요레.
And so when you say the form is empty, when it says the form is empty, and that time it clears the nihilism, eternalism, and saying that the form exists, form exists also eternally, or existing all the time or eternally. And so that when it says the form is empty, that eliminates the eternalism. And then when it says the emptiness is the form, and then that eliminates the nihilism, grasping of the nihilism.
다 간다르 안에 주 동바고 사나 주 라지 테베 동아레 제가 나나지 요마레스 원나 주 요마르네 요레 나데야 다나 주레스 안에 라지 마테베 주 안에 동바 나데 다나 주레 데레 라 체고 마레스로.
And so it says the form is empty. It says form form is empty of existing, form is on site or existing inherently. So if the form is empty, then does the form exist? Does the form exist or does not exist? Does it not exist? And no, it does exist. So when it says then emptiness is form. So then, and so that the emptiness of the form which appears as the form is the form.
뭐다 다들만 만보는 거지. 도대체 다 주세 가진 당보는 주세된 가도 당보니 미참하기 내차 셔다 드무칸가 계사 뭐도 고대고 주세된 가도 만 참이게 다니신 거다. 다뭐 고대와 대고 아니 때나 때네 아니 좋아 아니 디시 넘버시 방도 답이 소소 니레니레 좋아다 지금 레다 와도 오 제가 나와나지 요 말다 제가 사만나지 요 말다 아니 도시네 아니 라지 맞아가 송고요와.
And so then it talks about why we have to be explain about form. At the beginning is because the form is most easiest and of the 5 ergas to understand. Form is something that we see, we taste, smell, hear, and so forth. So that is much very easier for us to understand. Therefore, it talks about the form. Then you apply that to other areas as well, and then talking about like the feelings, all kinds of feelings that we get, the happy, unhappy, neutral feelings. All these feelings that we experience is also empty. It's empty and of existing in a way they appear to us, the way we feel, where they appear to us.
미지 창라 수야 본도는 semla gawo chegeres 아니 수수 보라 차바치 있게바리 미지 자 초도 농에만 쇼들었나 아니 다 미들 막아와 차려 그랬어 다 전에 제가 zul라 차바요 전에 됐던 거랬어.
And so like how we generate attachment and anger with respect to our body, it's like if somebody says you have such a good body, a beautiful body, a handsome body, then you get attached to your body, right? You become happy, you become attached to your body. And then when somebody says, oh, you have such an ugly body, ugly look, a face, appearance, then you become unhappy, you get angry towards that person. So like that, anger and attachment are developed in that way.
제도 등한도 소소성다다 용도 저도 미치가 배니 저들었나 아니 텔레는 것도 배나 가로 소소 직 셈도 초각하게 제긴도.
So does it happen to you when somebody says, oh, you look so nice or so beautiful? Do you get different feeling?
제가 단답변나 미자 부모도 저같이면서 파티 창도 또 담보 수문이 통하면 수된 성령분들도 아니 수기 질레 juk 아니 나로고 친구의 내도 차단 통고 말아 아니 담보 죽도 죽을 아니 다 텔레드네 차바지 텔레가 juk 아니 나도 파티 담보 나 계란면은 가시기에서 아니 니마치 나 계란 냠도는 가시기에서 소래기도 대도 한번 차바디 고용고 따로.
So when first man and woman, when they meet, they see what they see, to attract each other is the form of each other, right? Their body, what they see is their body. And then based on what they see, the body of the other person, then they get attached to each other and says, oh, I like you so much, I love you, and all these things because of looking at the body. They only see the body, outside body, but you don't see the inside mind, right? And so the personality, the mind, the thought, and all these things, you don't see that. So based on what you see is see the body, and you say, I love you, so and I like you. But then then later, when you find out, when you see the other side, other aspect of the person, like the personality or other things, then you start to hate the person. Right? So at the beginning, you say, I love you, I can't live without you. And then later now you say, I hate you, I can't live with you.
제가 그 담보네 그 차바랑 그 제와에다 그 차바 코나 단에 담보네 그 로카랑 가로 가로 잡대 명예지에 반다 아니 그 제질 내가 콜라보 야보는 거 말아.
And so it was that relationship was created by attachment, right? And the attachment is an improper mind. It's an improper mind. So it's something created by improper mind will not be good. Will not be long lasting. Will not be good. So that's why the relationship based on that doesn't really last a long time.
Okay. 어다 디갑서 다 디갑서 가르치고나 손남게 내가서 아니 동반이 꼴라야 다 두중 덤지 거와니 존나고 내가서 곰종고 거와니 대체 덤지 거와니 그래 스타디 얘기요.
So this understanding of emptiness, on the path of accumulation, is gained through hearing or through study and through contemplation, and in the path of preparation, then you gain understanding of emptiness through meditation.
그래와 배차이나 담보변나 다 지나서 다 남주 자외 배외가 자외가 샤는 로뉴가 된지 봐나 다 배외가 자외 샤도 맞아 세보다 말보다 아니 가로 가도 나 바지 잘라베네 자샤 잔이 자샤 바지 곱조데 세보다 말보 다자레 아니 몸보다 나보다 상 토하이 말 깔보데.
And so, for example, like when you go to monk's room, like if you have been to monk's room, like Tibetan monk's room, and then the color that most of the color that you see in the monk's room are mostly either yellow or red or maroon, like that. You don't see green, blue, or purple, and like that. You don't see those colors.
제가 나 지나도 배배 잡에 샤서 라고서 어다 되는다고 요래 섬 섬나 좋아하려 그래. 어다 될라야 아니 다 동반일 때. 맨날 동반에서 되네로 고원이나 동반이나 고원이 봐서와.
And so you understand, you get some idea about the Tibetan monk's room. And then it says, oh, when you think about Tibetan monk's room, then you think about the monk, the room with the color of yellow, red, and like that. And so you have that image of the color and of the room in your mind. So you have some understanding about that room, right? Just like that, you gain understanding about the emptiness, which we call in the manner of many generality.
미지 지나라고 아가 기실라가 샤는 더와이 다 기실라 나로라 당가 마본도 아니 추강가 셀보레샤 말보레샤나 줄라 아 당게 되네 여러 삼소 다 능원에 되네 좀 당게 응말에 지나라 티고 초슈첼 텔라 아니 베나 되네라고 동반이를 거나 안 가로 고원이나 아니 대지듯이 또 봐서라 그래.
And so then, you have, some idea in yourself, and then later somebody says, oh, I went to Geshe's room, and Geshe's room has these yellow and red colors like that. And then you really also, yeah, that's right, that's what I was thinking. And now somebody said it, and now it becomes even more strong. Your understanding of that becomes even stronger. And so that's realizing the thing in the manner of many generality.
that's what 다 니마지 종에 샤는 아 나들이 요즘 저 파다 저랑게 응마 섬을 샤데 응마 저랑 세시지 통과라다 중에서 또 그래 대나지 동반이 응에서 또 세고 되는 용거래.
And then then someday you come to Geshe's room and then you actually see it with your bare eyes. So you actually see the colors like yellow and red, and then you say, oh yeah, that's right. Now I was imagining that before. Now I actually see it. So you can see it directly. So that's like the direct realization of emptiness like that.
어데 당간도 되면 주 동바고 주랑지 집에 동다 자 주랑지 집에 요말 나게 지금 샘지 코치 삼 당그레스. 되니 아 주랑지 집에 동 랑지 마트에 진텔라 제다 견라 때마 아니 차셔라 때마 아니 리페건데 아 당군이 랑지 집에 요사 말에 섬을까라 아니 대시도 또 봤어. 아니 돈음 톱니 아다 동반에서 주사데 오늘 자네기 다 아니 다시 제베트나 아니 녀지 매봐 아니 랑고는 맞아봐 아니 소소 싸만지 매봐 고와 녀도만 동반 응어서 또 봐서 오두지고 발음도 내게도 와
던지서 그 또발로 검고 말해.
어다 검도 거라 삼당고라 검도 거라.
네. 또 가서 도중다 삼중기 시랍디
아니 돈음 가듯이 아니 그런 거 가서 아니 검주기 잘합지.
And so so during the path of preparation, accumulation, you gain understanding about emptiness through study. You learn about it, and then you contemplate on it. It says, yeah, so it's it is empty. It is empty of existing from this one side. It's empty of existing inherently. Doesn't exist. And so you contemplate. Yeah, that makes sense. So you gain this understanding, and then you contemplate on and then you meditate on that. Then you just you haven't realized it directly, but you can have the clear picture of how things do not exist from their one side through meditation by meditating on it again and again, and then at that time that's called realizing emptiness in the manner of meaning generality, which happens during the path of preparation. And then you keep on meditating again and again, and then eventually you come to realize it directly. So that's when you reach the path of seeing.
오케이, 다 디긴 돈을 못 갖다 동반이 시다데 아니 샤리보 대답은 추담죠. 동반이 된 세념에봐 마제봐 망가봐 점마메봐 점마다 잡아 강함에봐 오세게 다 디가다 또 아니 돈을 못 갖다 동반이 검도 송고 그래.
And so
동반이라 줌에 동반이라 따로 동반 줌에 대타 줌에 처음에 드시면 되죠. 넘버 10번 가로 넘버 10번에 넘버 10번 넘 동바고 대타지 다 양도서 가지 대 초조 가는 거지 다 되는 거라 샤리와 대답하나 추담죠. 동반예대 신념에 마제바 망가바 점마메바 점마다 저와 강함에 바고사디 단 돈을 것 같아 동반예 검들.
And so then, then he says, Avalokiteshvara says, Shariputra, like these all phenomena are empty without characteristics that are there, that is, they are not produced and not and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. So, like that, he said that, like that on how to meditate on emptiness and in the path of seeing.
Okay, 어디지 다 뒤가서 가래리 동반예 제조. And
so at that time, then he explained the emptiness, with this in the emptiness and in the eightfold, and with the 3 doors of emancipation.
Okay, 어디 다 들으면서 다디 오달라 안에 고놈 그네 가서 안에 동반이 주제가 들어 오시기도 잘 봐.
And then after that, during the path of meditation, and then it explains or meditates on emptiness on the 66, right? And emptinesses.
그래? 아니 들마 주제가 들어고. 두시래도 아들 두시래도긴 봐요. 다 가제 들서 아니 온봉아 아니 그 현재 중이지 감저지지. 아니 텐데로 중이 lunju ludoch and demba shiji odalma was.
And so those are the 18 constituents, 12 sources, 12 linga of dependent origination, the 4 noble truths, and so forth, right? All this.
아다 고도로 전화 간지 가도라 10방아여로 12유로 다 오신가 시식 두 12지 되게 예투들라 아니 현재 중이라 그랬어.
Tikesagi. Because
genje juni bana zuji daichi techi roichi ro. Otela ya ni genje juni.
And so the 12 sources, the perfection, perception, perception sources, and so they're just like there are, 5 senses, right? 5 sense consciousness, 5 senses, 6 senses, with including with the mental, right? And so those are like the sources, for those consciousnesses.
다 감춰지 송자마야 아니 미바 이지 감축 말 때 온보 감축 미바 이지 감축 아니 가로 때 남시 감축 오도전에 아니 감쪽지에서 용 그래.
And then also they are like talking about the 18 constituents, so they're talking about the 6 the bases, the organs, and then 6 the objects, of those consciousnesses, and then 6 consciousnesses. Those are based on those 5 6 organs.
그래서 대답은 동반이라 줌에 처음에 드시면 넘버 10밤에 매바 넘버 10밤에 메게 가로 넘버 10밤에 보고 메메 나와메 제메 레메 예메 즈메 다메 트메 로메 레자메 추메 이지카메 이지 넘버 10 감지 받으면 어떠하더만 돈만 쏜 거 같더만.
So
아들마티 코도다 시험 집어 미세코
So those are there, right? So for Shariputra and emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no common factor, no consciousness. There is no I, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no form. There are no taste, no object of touch, and so forth. So all these are here. So these are all explained, on emptiness, 66 emptiness, to be meditated, practiced on the path of meditation.
제든 더소 내가도 가제 간도 남준 통대야. 아니 바지 온봉에기요. 야만나 온봉에기 바나 쉐에 가리 들릴 때는 내차셔다 뜨무지나 다모는 돈도 건마 아니 동반이 거 때는 바꾸요.
And so we're talking about all these objects because usually we get all these delusions like attachment and anger based on these objects, and therefore first it is explained. First, the emptiness of these objects are explained.
너지 아니 드네 아니 가동 고발랑 코르탄 바 제보 시오들 아니 텐데라 주니 거는 고발이 고발라 파 도나야 텐데라 주니 거는 도고 그래 텐 고발랑 코르탄 나 도타 제바들이.
And then it talks about the 12 link of dependent origination in the forward order, and also from the how you circle and cycle existence, and then how we can free from cycle existence as well. So how we circle and cycle through ignorance comes the volition or karma, and then that leaves the the imprints on the consciousness, and so forth. So. And then when you free yourself from psychosis, you also free by abandoning these 12 link of dependent originations.
다 되네 마셔도 아니 양 고발랑 코르탄치 야 유니지에 잡았나 아니 다 덴바시거든요 그거.
So it's that's said by like saying there's no ignorance, and no cessation of ignorance, and so forth up to aging and death, and no cessation of aging and death, and then after that it talks and explains about the emptiness of the Four Noble Truths. Likewise, there's no suffering, no origin, no cessation, and no path.
근데 다 덴바세 가르나 상제 그 수라니 소라 차베는 막강 랍샤와 다나 아니 되는 내가 인자 덴바스 라고 그래서 아주 미디 덴바이를 미디 주말로 이러 봤어. 마이 생에들라 아니 미디 주마 마이 마시들라 미디 덴바라 오페 테노.
So it's those Four Noble Truths. So why you call the truth? Truth is just it's a true. It's just as explained by the Buddha. When we say truth, that means not lying, right? Just telling the correct or exact thing.
나도 베베 벨레테르 미디 덴바이레 미디 주마레라 그래 미디 주마레 그래 인지가들이 요래.
So usually in Tibetan we say that person is truth. So I don't think that in English you say that person is truth, right? Or you say mostly you say what the person is honest. He doesn't tell lie. He tells the right things. He's honest like that.
Okay, 다 덴바시. 원한 파베 덴바세데 동반잉에서 또빈 파베 강사기 가린 통화 가린 스바나지 되려 내봐 인자 아니 파베 덴바시.
And it's called the Four Noble Truths. Noble means like an Arya beings. So these are truth as seen or perceived by the noble beings.
Okay, 다 가린 통화르나 덴바시데 넘버 상지 다 추고 싸와 연나 맨날 덴바다 싸와 연나 맨나지 도도라 같아.
And so what they see is that these Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are the basis, is the basis, the main pillar of the Buddhism.
다 아니 코알라 수용 코야기 젠데 지당 코알라 파 도야기 젠데 지치 오도시 송고요래. So
there are these Four Noble Truths. There are two sets of cause and effects. So the one set of cause and effect for entering into cycle existence, and one set of cause and effect for freeing.
제가 도좀만 아니 동아리 시바샤 군주 빵와샤세데 가르제나 동아된 것은 바 제네 대 용사게 저 군주 메와서 그래서 정말라 고발라 친 고야게 제다 가래 군주레스 대근 제버 아니 다 동아들라 다 고와서 그나무도 가진 가서 제가 나치 동아 어디 연구요레스 다된 고외가 내다래 송거와.
And so he said that first you understand the suffering, and abandon the origin. Abandon the origin. So so you abandon the origin by understanding the suffering. So first you understand suffering. When you understand suffering, and then you will look for the cause of the suffering. So, this is the suffering. Where did the suffering come from? And then you will find the origin, where the suffering came from. And then you will, say, I want to be free from this suffering, so I have to eliminate the origin, the source of the suffering. So and therefore, the source of the suffering is the source, is the cause, giving rise, to the samsara, and the suffering that we are experiencing. The true suffering is the samsara. for the result of the true origin.
아니 딘디기 아니 고바 빵웨가 빵바스고 남도 텔라 아니 고대세로 와 대토비하기 아니 람텔라 아니 토비하기 딱 그러고 냠레 가리 냠레 지금 람 냠레 람스나 다 간터 아니 똥바닝 것도 또 별로들 람스 대 냠사람 발라 때네 고대 톱거래서 와 아니 람데서 순바송와 뭐 시와송와 그래.
And then the third one, is the true cessation. That's the cessation of having ceased, the sufferings, right? Sufferings and the delusions, sufferings and the cause of the suffering. So that's the cessation. And then how you achieve that cessation, how you achieve the cessation is through practicing the path. So then that explains the fourth one is the true path.
Okay. 어제 다 빼쳐 고대오잖아. 등아세대 그걸 뺀다 빼쳐잖아. 아니 아무튼 나사다 버렸어. 내다 봐. 등아세대 내다 버렸어.
And so the suffering, for example, the suffering, is like the disease or the sickness or the disease that we have.
그렇죠? 아니 근주세대 된대가 나사대 용하기 다 신한 건 된제다 보더라. 근주라고 그랬어. 근주세대.
And the origin, the true origin is the source or the cause and the condition of that disease.
다 등아 대 고비가 아니 고바고 시비기 차들라 아니 고대들라고 그랬어.
And so then having cured that disease, right? Free from the disease, is like the cessation.
Okay, 다 딘디게 아니 그러고 나사데 타야기 아니 메다버테 아니 람데 말이스.
And then so the medicine that cures the disease is like the true path.
Okay, 다데 빼는 것도 와. 등아 시버셔 담봉아도 변나 믹세게 전화도 변나 지제는 건 로치를 치는 나사치는 맨날 맨간을 진 로고도 와. 인지미지. 제가 전화 수보다다 누우면 딱 열어 왔어. 나사들은 누우면도. 제가 등아 나사하고 그거도 와.
So this is very important, right? So understanding the suffering is very important. Just like you guys, go to the hospital, even if you are sick or not, just to make sure, to do your physicals, right? For your physical, you go to, see the doctor, and so just to understand, whether there's any diseases or not. If there is, then what you can do to prevent it while it's still preventable, and so forth.
먼저 나요 그래 삼네 현하기 배 소소 내가 주제 결례네 다시 주제 찍라 찍니시 라샤 강가고 나요 그래 삼네 고 이슈로 대샤기로.
So just worrying about, worrying that we will get sick or we will fall sick, right? And then we spend so much money, pay the insurance. So all the of the 8 hours of work, in 1 hour maybe we, 1 hour of our pay, we give to the insurance.
How much you pay insurance like health insurance? You guys pay like amount or hour, maybe like 1 hour man. Money like that. 제당가도 나가요 말은 가도 수번 탄다를 됐다. 나용 거래서 시나가 설명함라. 거기 대득 전에야. 가지 가도 땡기 왔어.
So we're not sick, but thinking that we might get sick, right? That's why we pay the insurance, to cover for the medical bills if we actually get sick.
제자 산지 좀 되는 거 담보 등을 씹어셔야 때 무슨 거 씹어다. 등아치는 거 맞으면 등아들 자고 있는 것도 좋아. 나도 그런 얘기 말해봤어. 나 등아 개면 땡도.
And so Buddha is saying that understand the suffering first is very important, because if you don't understand the suffering, then you will not have the wish to be free from the suffering, right? So just like if you don't know you are sick, then you will never think about getting help or taking medicine and so forth, right?
제당 안 좋잖아. 날 등아서 개면 수보는 당다예. 아니 레가는 예. 나를 로는 빠른도 했는데 가는데 가도 등아 개면 소원 얘기도 봐선다나.
And so usually, we don't understand that what we have is suffering, right? We usually think that I don't have any sufferings. I have a job, I have money, coming in, paychecks, and I have electricity at home, I have heat at home. So where is the suffering? I don't see any suffering in me. I think.
제당 저에 전에 등아지 등아 제외 등아 차와지 등아 숨 송거래. 대패샤의 잡에는 맞 소동을 버려 봐.
So then, when we, so of course that's because we don't understand the suffering, right? So we understand the suffering. There are, there are three kinds of sufferings that I explained, right? The suffering of pain, and then suffering of change, and all pervasive suffering.
동아지 동아 단단하도 또 협내 두고 전불리가 고가셔. 다때 동아요 티가 랍 동아 라보시. 동아요 가라 동아 라보시.
So we already have the suffering, and on top of that, then we get more suffering. So that's called the suffering of suffering or suffering of pain. So like the pandemic or the COVID-19 that we're experiencing now, it's like the suffering of suffering. We already have suffering on top of that. Then we experience, it's like suffering of suffering.
아니 더 동아 못해 오셔도 동아세대 가르나 말아서 감 문제가 들어 동아세 인지미지 감바 마 싸움을 못했다고 소수가 아니 지금 암주가 자 아니 나가 저 아니 젤레가 저 아니 수보고 저와 가리 감 문제가 들어야 링아 예수 감 문제가 들어 동아세.
So first, we have to understand what is suffering. Suffering is something that we do not desire or we do not wish to, have. So anything like that, is suffering. It does. In order for it to be suffering, it doesn't have to be like, you have to be terribly sick or you have to have a roof falling on you and so forth. You don't have to have that kind of thing, to experience the sufferings. So anything that we do not wish, and to go through, or we do not wish to experience, it's a suffering.
배차셔도 남중아도 다 수번 하다였나 변나 지지에서로야. 당도 배우려서 너무 못해서 아무 거. 지나서 미세가 로공도와 로공고에도 미파초에 지나 로카세 봐. 하 권데 처음 때 동아래.
So just like you don't wish, you don't desire to tell other people your age, right? Is that a suffering? You don't want that, right? You don't want other people to know your age. Like in Tibet, they don't hide. People, people can ask. The person can ask the other person's age, and the person who is asked will not be offended, and will openly tell how old he or she is. Whether she is young or old, they will just tell it freely. But I don't know. Maybe nowadays, Tibetans also hide their age. Want to hide their age.
제가 정보에 조문다가 미래 람남만 미하 권마 지난 로카임버도 코자 따단 로면 코 스탑 제가 말아. 옛날 이게야 대학 권대 조문데 상화체고나 어때 코까지 등하래.
You don't wish, others to. You don't want others, or you don't wish others to know your age, right? You want to hide it. You don't want them to know. So you don't want that. You don't want people to know your age. So that not wanting that, or not wishing, not desiring that, it's also suffering. It actually doesn't matter, right? Whether they know your age or not. You're getting old. You're getting old. If they know you're getting more old, and if they don't know you're not getting old, if it's like that, then of course makes difference. But otherwise, usually it's not like that, right? So even other people know or not, you're getting old, day by day, right?
Right. 배치나 양아도 당한테 이 라이든 가서 이제 소화도 자게 오다. 제가 배차 jonjo 때 고깔에는 소화도 자는 것도 책이 오다.
So I'm just like applying it into our day-to-day life experience. Of course, it's a little bit difficult to understand, like if we go through just like it is in the text. So if we apply that to our day-to-day experience, then maybe I think it will be a little easier to understand.
양배 심버지는 건데 지나서 그때 시행이 저도 간도 라게 말다 시다네. 제가 전부도 라야 말다. 전부도 약바도 랍초고 말아. 야한테 너고 말아 왔어.
And also, like another thing I want to say is, like people, you don't want people to say you are fat or you're big, right? So that's not wanting that is also suffering.
제가 대신에 거치라다 루소를 나도 배외 루소에 나타 대상 내마이나 미 샤자보 여보요 아 미티 샤자보 무슨놈 첨보 아니 수도 첨보 아니 수보 야보 아니 지 미강에 명에들에도 나도 랍가 배외 루소 되는 요래.
So this is also again cultural thing, right? Like in Tibet, when somebody say you are fat, that's a compliment, So that's like praising that person, and that means that you are very strong, you're very, and healthy, you're like very meritorious, because you are a very meritorious person, so you have plenty to eat, you can eat, and you become fat, so that's a very good thing.
제가 단답 먼저 배우게 그때 의전에 때다 다르면 그 샤자반에 때 나서 마 일레기도 왔네. 다그 룩송으로 타라와.
So, and the contrary to that is like if you say somebody is skinny or thin, then they feel very bad. But here maybe it feels better, right? Oh, you're so thin, that's very good. So, but anyway, so yeah, so depends on the cultural thing, that some people get offended, but some people don't. Anyway, but nowadays, maybe getting too much fat is not good also, right? Because that causes many other diseases to come into your body.
야, 다 강들 다 들만 방송을 다 동아 시버서 간제 치는 거 소소고 강면도 동아다 란트버지 하커워지 하커와이나 다 동아다 가와 용샤 가리제는 용샤 정도 때 따지지 그러 미세게 루마디나라나 코 나니 싫어지거나 매태면도 코 나사다 가는 두다니 샤샤건도 대두치 바래.
And so anyway, it's important to understand the suffering, right? So first you understand the suffering, and then you look for the cause of the suffering. Where does this suffering come from? Just like in this country, the doctors don't give medicine right away. They really and check thoroughly where this disease come from. And so even if the person is about to die, they still don't give medicine. They first try to look for the source of that disease.
나도 야가로는 들어요 말다. 야가로나 고나나 매직 조나나 매직 소자나 매직 되거든. 대선 차도 그래.
So in India, where we live in, it's not like that. There's one medicine for headache, one medicine for pain, one medicine for stomach ache. So we just take that medicine and we'll get better.
아니 그도 갑자 그랬어. 나도 시트가 제가 갑지고 니거든. 애가 돌아. 아니 것도 돌아 니전 갑니 전날 저도 한다 그래.
And then they also give injection, so they ask, the Indian doctors ask, do you want an injection or 2 injections? And then we say, we want 2 injections so that we can get better fast.
제가 그 의욕 나도 그 요거 찾아와 있나. 다 르마들이야. 그 나한테 피그리 되나 코멘트면도 그 수자면으로 대샤면요. 가다나 나다데 가르쳐 그 피기 다시 저기로 와.
But in this country, it's not like that, right? So even if a person, is fainted, with pain, still don't give medicine. They want to find out what is the source of the disease, and what kind of medicine should give. Will work best for that. So in the meantime, to relieve from that pain, they just give simple painkillers.
어제 제장아 아니 가주나 아니. 제가 남배 산지 좀 되게 추러다 되고니 데려군 데려다라고 로니 동갑쟁이라 저런 동안도 그러면 뒤싸워들 따고다 동아가 싸워 가르쳐 동아 싸워 근주리 근주데 미시바드레스 아니 뭐 바드레스 순나라와.
So the Buddhism in that sense is very similar to science, right? Goes with the logics, reasonings, logics and reasonings. Like Buddha also, like 2,500 years ago, when Buddha explained about this Four Noble Truth, and he said, the suffering is this, this is suffering, and you have to understand that, and then you see where this suffering comes from. So that's the origin, the true. Then he explained about the true origin. So what is the true origin? It is the ignorance. It's not knowing what it's the ignorance, and that's the true origin.
대한 빼버는 트리도 작도 빼는 트리베 다대상 트리베 멤버 저 나상 무슨들 저 나상 대리도 다스탄다 또임나도 나왔다 또임나도 콘데르다 딱그 주요 요도 요 말이야 무슨 받지 맞춰지 그 주요 요도 말했어요 대다시도 와 제다 산지 좀 내게 동아리 시바샤 군주 빵하잖아 군주도 하커워지네 군주도 빵에도 뭐도 대매워서야 되는 것도 다시 어서 송바라.
And then so also similar to this modern day science. Just like we find out the diseases, right? So it's just like, okay, this is the disease. This is called COVID-19, and what can you do to be free from that? Is there a way to be free from this? Can this be prevented? And so forth. So you check like that, So and then you find the source of this, where it come from, how it gets transferred and so forth. So you find out that, and then you so you have to do this, to prevent that from getting into your body and system and so forth. So you do that just like that. So Buddha also explained, this is the suffering and this is the origin of suffering. So if this is where the suffering comes from, the cause of the suffering, then how do you get rid of the suffering? It's by eliminating the cause of the suffering. And is it possible to eliminate the cause of the suffering or not? Like that. So then you analyze on that.
어제 제가 또 빼 내가래도 오늘 단에 빼 세력이 시작하다 집아 작도 예장아 저랑 안 돼 가로 대바람 투소 가져서 what I'm talking?
군중방고 이제.
아니 군중방 어제 다 아니 저랑 나사들 자야 요래서 나 신이 고민주 책에도 와 대나지 전에 아니 군주도 군중방 요다 가르나 군중방에 빵바 군주 세대 가르나 머리 받아래 머리 받에 빵에 뽑아는 고발라 그래서 그 덴바스 수마디 그렇게 책에도 와.
And then, so it's very similar, to the scientific way, right? It says, going according, to the reason. Yes, so there is a cure for that disease, and to, get rid of the disease, you have to find out the cause of the disease, and then you eliminate the cause of the disease, then you'll be free from the disease, just like that. So, so you understand the suffering, and then understand where the suffering comes from, and then and then analyze whether this origin of the suffering or the cause of the suffering can be eliminated or not. It says yes, it can be eliminated, because there is such thing called cessation, or freedom, from the suffering.
다 아니 되니 동아한테 매워서는 오늘 가르치고 매워서는 람곰고르다 따라테 쉬와대 아니 람데서 송 거라.
So then analyze, whether this cessation can be achieved or not. Yes, you can achieve this, and in order to achieve that, you have to, just like say, to get rid of the disease, you have to take a medicine. So how do you get rid of the disease? Is by taking medicine, just like that. So you can achieve this cessation, and in order to achieve the cessation, you have to meditate on the path.
Okay. 나한테 빼 로던적에서 와. 먼저 빼는 미지 나당 아니 동아래 자탕 걸어 빼고 들려야 야부슈도 로탄데 야부슈도 와.
But this is very similar, to our day-to-day life experience, of and experiencing a disease, right, or sickness, and how to cure that, by taking medicine and so forth. So it's very similar to that, right? Easy to understand?
Okay. 다 들려 다 람데세 다 뭐보시오 다 람데세 다 가지고 군주 방와샤 군주세 때 식당 뭐보 무시 몸바들래 하모고에 들음 몸바들 군주라 그래서.
And so then you have to meditate on the path. So the path is very extensive, right? It's very extensive. There's so much to practice, and so anyway, but you have to practice that to eliminate that origin of the suffering. So but among all many kinds of source of the suffering, the main one is if you abandon the main one, then you can abandon all of the rest. So the main one is the ignorance. Ignorance of not understanding the reality.
다 배셔지는 게 준들라 배 간대지용으로나 준들 동대 근데 세르크 카부도서래다 세르크 카부도서.
So this you see this thing on my hand and Geshe's hand, that's to, what do you call that, pull out the bears and monsters. Yeah, so Geshe never shaved, he just pulled them out.
This is also gold.
And it's made of gold.
The
regular metal can't do it. It has to be 24 karat gold.
제가 변하다 저도 변하다 이체와 미들라 이체와 고르는 저 인사 계속이라 그게라 골게 카부토서 지요래 something다.
So if you are told that, so now I tell you that, right? So that's, Geshe has this 24 karat gold, also the bear plugger. So puller, bear puller, something like that. Anyway, so if somebody said there's this such thing, made of gold, and then you believe it. Oh yeah, that's really true. That's a real gold.
다들 가르쳐서나 아니 니마치 전화도 때 골 많이 봐 하거나 그만 골에 something 아니 맨도.
And so, but later one day you find out that, oh, it's not gold, it's just a copper, and then you say, oh, okay, so it was not gold. So before you have this belief thinking that that's a gold, and then that belief will be gone now.
Okay. Okay. 당가도 네 주마된만 저기 다 양가다 최세 숨송 안 캐나도 되거는 가르고 논리 됐 제시와.
And so yeah, so now we're going to discuss more about that later again, but I think you guys can do more discussion now.
Okay, I'm leave you guys, and you guys discussion. Also, I have to go some another meeting. Okay. Do the discussion with the four number 2. Okay. Try to more understand deeply. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Saji perkijuk sing me tok tram rivrat ing jini de gimpati sangejing du mikte uagi droku nam dajing lacher parshug jetum namekute rapten ching nam katrin le chokcher ge padang mo sang ten vedrin me sasungi roen mun sel tak tu negur chik idam guru ratnamandalakam niryatayami. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings who extensively clarifies the path to unifies emptiness and compassion, to the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech me, all your holy wishes be fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Through this virtue, may I swiftly, having gained Guru state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious Supreme Bodhi mind, may where unborn arise and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Mignit se waiter chen resik dreamakin pe wang po jong pel yang gong chen ke pe tsu gen song ka pa lo san